This is Praxis Craft. Avant now presents visual artist interview series with Clutter Beckwith. Um, in this series, will be conversational with a myriad of artists who work in visual arts, and we're happy to announce that we will be featuring multidisciplinary artist Juan Carlos Melpelli at our next one. And today we are joined with Clutter Beckworth, a New Mexico-based artist working in digital collage since 2015. Trained as a portrait painter, he started working digitally after years of chronic homelessness and a lack of studio space. His images are influenced by the Dadaist and Surrealist artists of the early 20th century, and he uses many of the same stream of consciousness methods. Every image has some aspect of figurative and many times mental illness and homoeroticism. He creates his art on his smartphone application. All right, so this is Clutter here. We're just going to go over. We're just going to rewind a little bit, and
Okay.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Oh, yeah, and I just wanted to go over really quick. Kind of, you started as a portrait painter, so tell us a little bit about that, real quick.
I started as a ceramics major, and then started doing portrait work in my early 40s, I guess. I started studying with a woman here in Albuquerque, taking classes with her through the New Mexico Art League, and loved it. So I was doing that painting, started moving around some, going through a lot of stuff, moved to Florida for a while and was able to paint there some, not portrait so much, but I don't know how you describe it. Moved to California for 8 years, worked in a tattoo shop, was tattooing and piercing. And then moved back to Albuquerque in 2015. The digital art was really just this free app. It was free at the time, just combining parts of different photographs and stuff. And at one point, I was going to have space for a while to paint. I started just doing kind of rough slap together images to use as reference for some surrealist paintings I wanted to do. Ended up not having really a place to paint, so I just realized that I was really liking the actual images that I was making and started refining them and crafting them better, and found different digital groups, analog digital collage groups on Facebook, and was getting feedback and inspiration and stuff like that. So I just kind of started just doing the digital art. I haven't had the time or place to do much of it the past year and a half. Mental illness stuff, homelessness stuff gets in the way of that. And I'm finding now that being very stable, but also working to live indoors again, eats up a lot of time and energy. So I haven't really, getting settled in, working a lot. I'm not having the time and energy to actually start setting up to paint again, which is what I really like to do. Although I do love the surrealist more than Dada. I don't have the political agenda, and I like aesthetics. I like art aesthetics from all periods of art history and stuff.
I'm going to rewind you a little bit. So let's talk about your pottery work. So do you still make pots? I mean,
I don't. I haven't been able to do ceramics for a long time. I was at one point, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I was able to start doing some sculpture and assemblages and stuff like that. I was doing some steampunk apparatuses. I'm really inspired by one of the surrealist writers, Lenora Carrington. She's an English woman that emigrated to Mexico, and one of her novels is about a woman with a hearing trumpet, a magical hearing trumpet. So I sculpted this huge hearing trumpet shaped like a big ear, and then kind of a long coiling horn that went into your own ear. Lost it somewhere along the way. Like that one I just lost. I lost pretty much everything the past couple of years. So yeah, so I haven't really been able to do ceramics. Although I did join the senior center here that has a ceramic studio, but again, working takes up so much time and energy and mental energy um, that I haven't been able to delve into that. I've only been living indoors since the end of November, so I am trying to get a studio space set up, but usually tired by the time I get home.
Yeah, and you were talking about recently. We were talking, and you were talking about you were a tattoo artist for a couple of years in Pismo Beach.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
When I left Albuquerque, I co-owned an antique store, a large
Mm-hmm.
antique store with a partner, and started taking painting classes and started getting heavily tattooed. I didn't really start getting tattooed until I was early 40s, probably, and now face, hands, chest, arms, back, legs, all those usual body parts. That was kind of a shift into being a different person for me. And I really wanted to get into the tattoo industry. I liked the tattoo culture. I liked the friends that I had here in Albuquerque, and had the opportunity to move to Florida and possibly explore that. That didn't work out to do that so much. And then ended up meeting some crazy person online and moving to California,
Oh
and
wow!
ended up being able to apprentice. The
Mm-hmm.
relationship was a nightmare, but I did make a lot of really good friends there, and apprenticed with a really great tattoo artist in San Luis Obispo. But then I worked at the shop, and they had two shops. So anyway, yeah, I did that, and it just wasn't. I found that the only time I really produce things that I like artistically is when I'm just doing something to please myself. So I don't like to do commissions. I don't like when people ask me to paint or draw things for them. Um, my work method, I guess you'd call it, tends to be more subconscious than anything. Um, Especially with the collage, I don't really have any image that I'm trying to do when I'm doing the digital collage. I sift through the internet constantly looking for public domain photos to use. I've got 40,000 something images in my iCloud. That is artwork, but also just photographs for reference. And they just seem to kind of want to go together a lot of the times.
Yeah. What we've got up right now is one of the pieces of collage work off of your website, clutterbeckwith.com. And this one is a body's kind of flailing down a spiral staircase. Can you tell me a little bit about that, and like what about that appeals to you?
It's got cute, sexy men in it. Not too much deep in that aspect of it. I tend to go through periods. One of the things I've done and noticed with collage is it's almost kind of a visual poetry. And I have a friend that does analog collage that calls herself a DJ, a visual DJ. And just following other collage artists, mostly digital collage artists online, that we have different vocabularies and writing styles, I guess visual writing styles. So I use a lot of the same kinds of imagery, a lot of the same elements, and then just they get combined in different ways. And I'll go through periods. I was obsessed with ornate spiral staircases for a while and was using a lot of them. They're always nude men running through thematically. But yeah, it's just, it's just kind of a visual vocabulary of things that I use a lot. I like a lot of steampunk. I see that Tortuga. I actually did that. Had more of an idea behind it. Was when I moved into my car, I call my van Little Tortuga, which is my house turtle that I lived in and was living in. And that's sort of how she sees herself, traveling around New Mexico.
That's great. I mean, hashtag van life, right?
Yes. And I kind of think sometimes it gets romanticized, and I did have a great time a lot of the time, especially when I was able to have enough money to earn enough money to travel around and camp more. But living in a car or a van in a city like Albuquerque, which is cold and gritty and dirty and crime ridden and all that kind of fun stuff, it's not that romantic, and it's not van life of, you know, a girl named Tiffany or Ashley traveling around with her dad's credit card all over the country and blogging about
Like
it.
what?
I know. It's
Well,
like trying to find a place to shit is hard in a city, you know?
Yeah, I mean, driving around LA, I'm sure everybody's had to, like, you know, do what they can, because let me tell you what, trying to get into a bathroom at a fast food joint in Los Angeles is trying to get into Fort Knox.
You can't. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, just the energy that you spend finding a safe place to park, finding, you know, to do all this stuff. It's, I mean, yeah, there are a lot of great aspects about it. I have been very mentally in a great place for the past year or so. That helps to be able to shift into an attitude of more, okay, this is what I'm doing. How am I going to make this really good and better and thrive living in a car? My biggest fear for decades has been being homeless, because I've been in mental hospitals with people that I've long enough that I may become friends with people that are chronically homeless, and would see that I would get stable, be on my meds, do therapy, get, you know, and then just be out and around and bump into these same people that had gotten stable again and were back on the streets and self-medicating and their addiction issues, which I thankfully have never had problems with besides cigarettes.
And you, like, so you, I mean, this name Clutter Beckwith is new. It's kind of a rebirth of yourself into the person that you are now.
Yeah.
And you said you've been kind of hanging out with the Radical Fairy movement. Can you tell me a little bit about that organization, or not organization?
It was started in the 70s by a guy named Harry Hayes, who was Will Gear, that played Grandpa Walton, was a Radical Fairy. And it was a communist movement, sex positive, commune type, I don't know, organization. Yeah. And there are 3 sanctuaries, I think, right now in the U.S., and one of them's here in New Mexico. I ended up spending a lot of time this fall out there, and the day before I was gonna go out, I met my current crazy ragdoll unicorn boy friend, who was on their way out there to pick stuff up. It was just moving to Albuquerque from there. So a lot of kismet, a lot of serendipity stuff going on with that. And generally, if you're a Radical Fairy, which is very hippie, commie, pinko fag kind of space to be in, usually have your fairy name. Comfrey kind of gave me mine. That's my partner's name, Comfrey. And it just fit me. I pick things up all the time. I see little shiny things or bits of metal or a rock that looks interesting to me, and fill my pockets on a daily basis and leave it in piles when I come home and change or get ready for bed. So I realize it's very frustrating for people that live with me to see my little piles of clutter everywhere, like broken car glass, windshield glass, in a neat pile next to the sink. Because it's pretty, I'm going to make something out of it someday.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna turn it into
Yeah,
a
I mean,
sculpture or a piece.
exactly. It's all stuff that I think I'm going to use someday, and generally do work it into some stuff when I actually have a place where I can work. So it just fit. Beckwith is a name I'd always thought I'd change my name to. Most of my family that I was close to died in the past 5 years. I have some estranged family, but so I don't have any attachment to my birth name, really. Ray is my birth name, never really fit me. It was just Ray. But Clutter just resonated. And then my grandmother, my very beloved grandmother's maiden name was Beckwith. So
Yeah,
it
okay.
just fit perfectly. It
That
fits to
sounds
me.
great.
I mean, it fits me. Most people that I meet can't imagine me being Ray. And a lot of my friends just switched over to calling me Clutter. Um, I, yeah, somebody that I haven't seen for a long time, I'll see them out somewhere and they'll say Ray, and it just kind of, I'm like, who? Part of
Yeah.
that is I've lived with suicidal ideation since I was 17
Mhm.
and went through a very, very dark place the past couple of years. And all I wanted to do was die. And in a lot of ways, Ray did die. Uh, and now I'm Clutter, but there's ghost kind of Ray. There's the writer Gore Vidal wrote an autobiography called Palimpsest, which is
Mhm.
Palimpsest is a sheepskin that's scraped down and reused, but there's always this sort of ghost writing that never gets totally gone away. So I kind of feel like that in some ways, that yes, I've got this history that's made me who and what I am, but it's kind of been scraped away several times, not just this last time, um, but really scraped down. And, Ray kind of just feels like a different person to me,
Mhm.
um, in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you seem much happier now. I mean, we haven't known each other very long, but I mean, since we've met, since you joined the
I
Red
was
Quilter, and
just,
we've kind of like shifted over.
yeah, I was just coming out of that really, really dark several years. I had a partner that was very sick for years that I took care of, and we were kind of self isolated. That went into squatting and homelessness and depression. And my mom and he both died within a couple months of each other. And
Oh, I'm sorry.
I met you right around the time I was coming out of that, all of that, like really
Mm-hmm.
coming out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Living in my van was working out really well for me. Uh, and I was really starting to thrive again, which I hadn't for years and years. Um, so yeah, that's when I met you. And, and then the Clutter person that I kind of shifted into was within a month or two after I met you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cool.
yeah,
Well, let's talk about this next piece. I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but it is off of your
yeah,
website as well. It is the skull with I think it's a vulture buzzard in a
a vulture
blue
buzzard. Yeah,
pretty
vulture.
dress. Yeah.
There's hundreds of different vulture species. This I grew up with art books and sci-fi and horror and
Right.
fantasy and mythology, fairy tales, just house filled with books like that. Um, and I've studied art history my whole life, just stacks and
Mhm.
stacks. The last time I had to get rid of everything, I had hundreds of big art books and stuff that I had begged, borrowed, and stole over the years. Um, and I really like uh, I think when I had the antique store and was doing that, it helped me to have a lot of background in art history, but it also kind of refined what I like. And I like the neoclassical painters. That's Ingres, I can't pronounce it, it's French, Ingres. And that's one of his portraits. Um, and again,
Mhm.
it's just, I just scour and look for images that I really love.
Yeah. And the
And
portrait is like the blue dress just by itself, correct?
yes, it's just the blue dress, the background, and then
Mhm.
uh,
Oh, with a space background. Okay.
yeah. And I believe in that painting, she's got her arm on the back of a sofa or a chair or something.
Okay.
So things just that I tend to just put things together that I don't hear
Resonate.
voices. Schizophrenia is not my diagnosis.
Yeah.
But things just kind of pop into my head and with doing the collage is they just seem to want to go together.
And how many collages do you have you compiled so far? I mean, that you still have with you, like that are digitally available somewhere?
Well, I'm having a hard time getting into my iCloud, but I would say 600 or 700.
So what we're seeing on your website is just like a sampling
25.
Of like 25
air sampling. I have a lot more, a couple hundred on my Instagram, and also some paintings and stuff that I've done years ago on my Instagram. But yeah, I had an Instagram account. The last time I was in the mental hospital, it got deleted somehow. There was probably a dick or something in one of them that I wasn't able to respond to. To like take it down or something, so it was deleted. So I started a new Instagram back in the hospital, April, May. I think.
So,
yeah.
I actually comments and stuff.
Yeah.
So we have a comment. We wanted to know if you were single. Missed that part. So
I'm not. With that question. I'm actually getting married.
Oh wow! Congratulations, buddy.
Yeah. In July.
And you said that's kind of, I mean, this new life and then getting married, that's kind of helping you kind of restructure your life and reorganize.
Not so much. It's kind of the other way around, that my life was getting restructured and rebuilt and kind of becoming more who I am now. And that kind of happened because I was in that space. I assumed I was going to stay single and not be in a relationship again. And this crazy ragdoll unicorn just kind of fell into my lap one day off of Grindr.
I mean, that's the meeting place of all.
Well, you know, it's true. We don't have bars anymore. But one of the kind of serendipity things with that was that I had actually emailed the middle of the night Zuni Mountain Sanctuary, the Radical Fairy Sanctuary here in New Mexico, to go out there and visit it for the first time. That like maybe 6-7 hours later, I met Comfrey through Grindr, and we hung out for the entire day. And there was just something there. I mean, I don't believe in love at first sight, definitely lust at first sight, but there was some kind of connection there. And talking that day, it turns out that they were just leaving that area out near Raymond, New Mexico, and moving to Albuquerque. They were just kind of in the process of just barely moving to Albuquerque. So one of the first things we did was go out there to pick up some of their stuff. They, them pronouns. I don't always use them properly, but I try. So we
tell
went.
Us about this piece. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Human animal hybrids fascinate me in any way, shape, form, with mythology, folk tales, all that kind of stuff. And again, I guess visual poetry wise, it kind of evokes to me some kind of angel thing. I have a thing about boxers and hockey players with broken faces. So I was going through a period of like looking at pictures of beautiful men with broken faces, and mannequins, figurative stuff. My stuff is all references figurative things in some way. And it's, like I said, color, form, whatever. I don't think there's any conscious meaning to stuff that gets thrown together. Mm-hmm. The aspect of that being some kind of mermaid angel thing just kind of came out because of the separate images that came together made it look like that. But I've never remembered my dreams ever my entire life. And apparently I do dream a lot and talk a lot in my sleep. But
well, maybe you're busy living them. That's, you know.
I think so in some ways. But I kind of sometimes think of my collage because it's so subconscious. I just kind of stuff comes out. These images want to be together, and I put them together, and they don't really have any inherent meaning to me. I don't title them. I don't want to tell other people how to view them. I would rather just hear their interpretations of them. And this one, I just say angel kind of thing because the jellyfish background kind of look like wings, I guess, and mermaid kind of thing. So,
no, it's great.
And
Is there any? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, is there any way to get your work, whether it be merchandise or get prints right now, or is there something in the works?
I actually there is. I've got a lot of friends that do art walks and are in galleries and stuff doing prints. So I'm gathering all the information. In Albuquerque, we have a downtown art walk, and I work in a food hall that we have vendors set up in our food hall. And so I'll be able to just set up there, but I don't have my shit together enough quite yet to get prints made, get packaged, get a thing to be able to set up. I still need to get a bank account. I've been using cash for so many years now that I need to get a bank account so I can actually do credit card, debit card sales and stuff. But the next art walk is February 3rd here, so I'm not going to have it together to do it then. But yeah, I mean, contact me either. I've got an email on my website or through Messenger on Instagram.
And what's your email?
My email is clutterbeckwith@gmail.com.
And your Instagram handle
is clutterbeckwith @clutterbeckwith. And then I have my not art one is notorious_homosexual.
Oh, what's that all about?
That's just about traveling around and fucking around and doing goofy shit and eating and van life and cooking fancy food in a parking lot.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, it was fun. I haven't been doing much on Instagram, just, I mean, working and moving and setting up a home and nesting and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, again,
takes a lot of time and energy. And just working takes so much mental energy and time.
Oh, yeah.
So I haven't been doing much on Instagram or Facebook for a while.
No, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you'll have some merchandise available on your site. Maybe we can put something together for our site that we can help you out with.
Yeah. I've been getting information from friends that do prints of their analog collage and getting stuff like that.
All right, man.
Together. So yeah.
Well, thank you again. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I mean, we got to talk to you. We got to experience your artwork. We'll try to touch base with you in the near future. If there's no links when somebody watches this video, because we're going to have it available for rewatch on our YouTube channel, and we have it available on our Facebook page, Praxis Craft, and we have it on our Praxis Crafts YouTube channel. We'll add some links to that, and hopefully we'll send them into the direction where they can either reach out to you.
That's my ultimate goal, is to be supporting myself as an artist before I'm 60. So I've only got 2 more years.
All right, man. Well, you look great.
Thank you.
Again, congratulations. I am going to end our stream real quick. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll have our next Avant Now live stream next week. Join us for a conversation with theatrical director, actor, and painter Juan Carlos Malpelli, direct from Argentina. Hopefully, we won't have any technical difficulties with that. But thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Avant Now.
Thank you.